Okay. So when Farron steps closer to the edge there, uh, he this there seems to be a long cavern stretching out to the southeast. Uh, a 5 foot wide ledge clings to the far wall there, and it forms a narrow stone bridge. He can definitely see that there's a bridge that goes across. It's hard. It's like right on the edge of this vision, but it's pretty clear that there's a bridge out there, and it seems to span this chasm. And he guesses he can't really see it, but it seems like perhaps it does the same thing on the other side of the wall, but he can't quite tell from where he's standing. He'd need to go a little further to
So he'll
check it
make
out.
an educated. Oh, this is like a little. Is there like a? Is this like a little walkway?
Yeah, it's about 5 feet wide, and it goes down to where he can see that it seems to form a bridge that goes across, but it
He's
gets
not gonna
just
do that.
out of his vision. So he imagines it may keep going. The closer he got to that edge, the louder the anvil sounds.
Ah,
There's also like chains. Um, Definitely some kind of working happening. Um, in fact, let me give me a perception check for him as well.
okay. Yeah. After he learns what he learned, he's gonna go back and tell them what he found.
Hmm.
Perception. Don't. Oh, no, computer. He doesn't know anything.
Oh God, yeah, he's distracted,
Look at that. An
or
eight.
something.
Five.
I know it's terrible.
He's more worried about getting back and not falling behind.
Yeah.
So he doesn't. All he saw was just the bridge and probably didn't know anything more than that. So he comes back and just
Hmm.
kind of says, there might be something over there. I'm not sure. I didn't want to stray too far. So, but there's a bridge and it leads somewhere. And that's what he says when he comes
Uh
back.
huh. All right. There he. Yeah, that's perfect. So he relays what he heard and saw, and brings it back to the group. What do y'all want to do?
We're basically following Aslan as we're
Uh,
walking.
right. Is Bassalon walking out onto that platform? I mean, you moved your token there, so I'm going to say you did. Let me read the description of this room when you walk out into this room. So, a great chasm opens before you, its ceiling 30 feet overhead. In the middle of the chasm is a square pillar of black rock. A stone bridge leads to a staircase that wraps around this pillar. The chasm, the staircase, and the pillar descend into darkness.
Kyra kind of says, "What if we're like going south is where this Medusa guy is?"
So,
That's what
when
she says.
Bassalon stepped out into the middle of that pillar, when you step in the middle of that bridge, you feel a slight tremor underfoot, then a loud, low pitched tone like the groaning of a giant fills the air, reverberating within the chasm.
Oh, great.
Step back, step back. No, that's what Kyra says. Like, what if we're walking
So,
straight into
well,
the freaking snake-headed?
remember, didn't the gnome said earlier, if Caitlin's remembering correctly, that the Marlos guy heads down here sometimes, doesn't he?
She didn't say that he know. She didn't know that. It was more of an educated guess.
Okay, and this is and so Caitlin says to Kyra, can you ask her if this is the way down she was referring to before?
And I ask her just that in undercommon.
She nods.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, guys, I mean, we have a couple options here. We know someone's getting tortured down the fucking hall. We know something horrifying is going to be down here, but My vote is for going deeper into the abyss here. We can always come back and check out who's being tortured.
They'll be tortured another couple hours. It'll be good.
It'll be good for them, right? It builds spirit.
You
It's a good
guys are
bonding
terrible.
experience.
Well, I have, since I know that we're going to be fighting this Medusa thing, I have something for this Medusa. I packed it. So if we're doing this, then we're doing it.
But I mean, I'm not trying to, that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm willing to go, and I mean, I'm obviously Kalen's feeling guilty about kind of abandoning the people that he's hearing being tortured down the hallway, but he's also pretty
There's
exhausted.
another scream.
Yeah, like I'm with you, Kalen.
And then cursing. It's all muffled, but
I'm with you, Kalen. I mean, like, if we just get rid of this bad guy, then everybody else may not even have a reason to fight. Who knows? And we might not have to do anything else.
I hear you, but we have no idea what's down there, and we know that someone down the hallway is getting completely crucified with like needles in their ball sacks. I mean, like, it's probably just horrific.
Well, it's up to you. Whatever. I'm just letting you know that I thought I was meditating, and I realized the very thing that I think could sway the battle in our favor with this Medusa guy, and that's what I decided to hack. But I can also do it tomorrow and the next day or the next day, but I'm hoping we don't have to stay in here that long. So just make a decision and I will follow you.
Does Boslan want to chime in at that point? Brett, you might be muted because I don't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. Boslan says we should, whatever's downstairs will remain downstairs. Let's deal with what we have up here now that we know is someone else in trouble. Maybe friends of Glitters. We wouldn't want to leave her sitting there being, eaten by another black pudding, would we?
No, Kalen agrees. I mean, he doesn't want to do this, but he knows he has to. He knows it's the right thing to do, and he agrees with Basalan and says, "Let's do it. Let's go. Let's just fucking go."
I asked Glitter,
down this corridor.
Are you good with 2 daggers, or are you one of those I need a dagger and a shield kind of chicks? I can literally say it just like that.
I love that.
She looks at you and she says, "Well, I prefer a pick or a good dart, but well, this'll do. And
I can give you like 2 more daggers. You can kind of throw those if you like, but
she says,
just saying.
I can do some simple spells too, but it's nothing. Nothing. Again, I'm not a fighter.
Today, I put my hand on her shoulder. I say,
fine.
today,
She's like
you're
smiling.
fighting, honey.
She's like, this is fine. I'll just stay back and stay out of the way. I'll help if you need me.
Yeah,
but she doesn't look very sure of herself.
We will need you. We will need you. You want to survive. You know what? Normally, I would say just go on your way, but not today because
she also
you heard those screams.
She also isn't wearing any armor. She's got like tattered clothing on and nothing else. So she doesn't look incredibly confident. But she's like kind of giving you one of that half-hearted grins and like sure, I'll do what I can.
Like, good girl. And then I turn around and I'm kind of going, crap. It's just that I follow them or I catch up to them because they're probably walking.
Okay. So, you guys step back to the hallway. Again, you hear the ringing coming from this chasm to the east. It also is sounding a little muffled coming from this hallway to the south.
Okay. Where's the screaming? From the south, we think?
It sounds further away to the south. If you take a moment to kind of try to tune in, it seems as if the hammering is closer than the sounds of the screams.
When we start, as we're walking, I catch up to Kalen, and I say, "Hey, not knowing if we're gonna die or not. I'm usually pretty optimistic, but we're gonna be fighting this snake dude. So, just saying, I got a question for you. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Okay, go for it.
How do you feel about drows?
Well, I've only encountered a few in my time, and unfortunately, they've not been the best experiences. But I also don't judge a book by its cover, so it's hard for me to truly answer that question. But I would say I feel impartial at best.
Kill them all, let Lolth sort them out.
Kalen would definitely have some knowledge and familiarity with the few drow that are known in the realms. Being a noble from Waterdeep, it's like, certainly word of Drizzt has, graced your ears. I mean, you're a bard. So you have to know those tales, kind of thing,
Sure.
So you know that there are at least some from the Underdark that are that break the norm, but by and large, you know that in general they're a fairly reclusive and unknown. Like not much is known about them, but what is known, they tend to be evil, but you know that there are some that break the norm.
Right.
So, I grab Kalen's hand and I drag him around the corner before we walk around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I take off my hood and I take off my mask.
Even more beautiful than I possibly could have imagined, milady. It is a pleasure to finally get the opportunity to meet you. And he does like a flourish and a bow and like a grin and a smile.
So she just kind of has a sigh of relief and says, "Okay, but don't say anything because, like, I always get the not the greatest, best of looks and whatnot. But I figured since we might die, and well." And then I put my hood back up. I put my mask back on, and then catch up with the other folks.
So I'm gonna say that Gitgrot was essentially toe in step with Bossalon. And Farron and the gnome kind of hung back. She didn't. Farron obviously knows. The gnome could care less. She doesn't have
I've
any
just been
judgment.
constantly like going down this corridor at like a sort of a creeping pace.
Yeah, I
Not like a
just
charge,
met
but just cautious. And,
Vassalon yesterday.
In
so
fact,
probably
I'm
not
gonna say
say
that
anything to him.
the gnome didn't pay any attention. So even if she could have, she didn't see anything. In fact, probably maybe you might have had your back to them, so that you just pulled the hood back just enough, like
Right.
not all
It
the
was
way
just kind of
off,
like,
but just enough, and then pull the mask down, just so he can see your face.
yeah.
Your lovely elven features.
So I put it back on,
Okay.
and then come around the corner, and yeah, I just met Vassalon yesterday.
Right.
We already discussed about Get Grad. He said he probably already knows because he talked to my mom.
He may or may not know, but regardless, he has thus far seemed uninterested or, unconcerned about that. That doesn't seem to have factored into his, being part of the group at all.
And then keep going.
Although it's not entirely clear if he knows yet. So as soon as you get alongside that door, is like at this point you can definitely determine that the hammering is coming from that door. You get down towards that end of the corridor, you start to realize that is is opening up into what appears to be a room.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much gesture to Kalen to listen at that door, sort of like tap my ear and point at the door.
I can see a bit farther.
To move
Is
further
there
south.
anything? Is there like a wall or anything?
Well, sorry. Yes, that's fair.
I know it's kind of complicated because not everybody can
No
see that
worries. No,
far.
no, no. That's totally cool. Essentially, you see a little bit farther. You can sort of see it is appearing to open into a room. I gotta give. Okay, I'm gonna do something to make this a little bit easier to deal with. Because I think that's what I wanted to do. So now everybody can see essentially what Kyra sees. So try to remember that your characters might not see quite as far as she does, but at least we can have the map illuminated to the extent that she can see. It's a little cleaner that way, I think. So Boslan, you basically see to the far wall, and that's about maybe the extent of what you can see. But then Kyra, you can sort of tell that looks like there's a little short corridor on the other far end and a door inside that. It's almost like an alcove more than anything.
Okay, I'm gonna approach the corner, and if I don't hear anything immediately around it, I'll do a quick peek right and left and pull my head back.
Okay. Kalen stands at that door. Gikrot kind of comes up sort of shoulder to shoulder with you, and make sure nothing comes blasting out of that door. You just the hammering keeps and the hammering just like bing, bing,
And that's
bing, bing. It's
down
really rhythmic,
here,
and
or is that like
the hammering seems to be coming from the
Yeah.
door. Yeah, from that door right there.
okay?
It's very rhythmic with random sort of breaks every now and again. There'll be like a pause for a minute or two, or maybe just a few moments. Might be like ping, 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 and then a short pause, ping, ping, as if they're like turning something over or inspecting it or whatever. So it sounds like a smith.
Yeah, sounds like a blacksmith. So, is there any way that I could like peek through a keyhole or try and like listen at the door to try and ascertain if there's, I mean, obviously there's somebody in there, but like trying to see if I could like, or maybe like slowly push the door open just a little bit to peek through.
Well, what do you want to try?
I'm gonna try and open the door just a little bit and peek through.
So give me a stealth check.
Farfignugan.
Come on, computer, don't F us. Not terrible.
Yeah, so you managed to, either through a crack under the door or alongside the edge of the door, you managed to like just get a sliver and a glimpse inside. I'm I'm not going to reveal the area at this time until somebody actually like fully goes in there. You see, it's definitely a forge. You see that it's it kind of you can't see if there's a wall on the far end. It's sort of out of your vision of the end of your dark vision. Oh no, that's not fair because there is some light. No, there isn't light in the room, other than from the forge. So there's some light from the forge. There's a big, in the middle of the room. There's this big. Well, I should probably just get the description. Hang on, damn it. I'm trying to remember. Do it from memory.
He's probably not a human.
So a forge stands in the middle of this room, surrounded by piles of firewood. Two big anvils stand close by, and hammers, tongs, and other smithing tools are scattered around several workbenches along the chamber's walls. You see... give me a perception check.
Okay.
So you're quiet enough not to be noticed, but now let me see how much you find out what you actually see. Oh, yeah. So with a 19, you actually get a very good look into the room. You see a large... what you would describe as humanoid-ish. It's hard to get a good view because they're on the other side of the forge, sort of like over the anvils. There are two anvils. You see a large humanoid and two let's just say man-sized or a medium. I guess I'm gonna say two medium-sized humanoids. They all seem to be either working or assisting each other.
Okay. I then kind of turn and I whisper to Could they? I guess they're probably Kyra and Boslan are too far away, probably for me to whisper to. But I
They're only
whisper.
about 15 feet away, so
Okay, well, I very
stage whisper.
quietly whisper to the group what I see in there, and Kalen is always interested in trying to find items of interest. And considering this is a smith, I would say this is probably an area that might have some interesting artifacts.
Okay.
And I basically say, okay, there's 3 people in there, guys. One's are two medium-sized humanoids and a rather larger humanoid. But it's a smith for sure, and I think we should check it out.
Okay. In the room that Boslan and Kyra are looking into, water fills a rectangular marble basin in the middle of this hall, and the walls display an ancient frieze that circles the room. The frieze depicts woodland images of deer, bears, and game fowl, along with parties of dwarven hunters. The southeast corner of the room is badly damaged, and the walls there are little more than rubble.
Does this look like anything that I might know just from nature-wise? Like, is this... Or...
Hold that thought. So, best guess is that the dwarves that created this monastery or this temple, these mines, that they carved it. That's your best guess. It looks. I mean, it's very. How do I want to say? It doesn't look specific so much as more just generally descriptive, like.
Just like maybe no
animals.
significance, but just like there's pictures.
Yeah.
And it's history. Great.
Yeah, I mean, you could give me a history check if you want. I would.
I was wondering if I could tell Gitgrot to come over there and take a look since it's all dwarven.
Sure. So you kind of give a signal to Gitgrot. He'll run down. I'm gonna have him. I guess I'll have him do a history check.
Where is the sound of screaming coming from? That's sort of the reason we're looking at.
Funny you should ask.
Kalen, was it Kalen's area?
You hear like grunts, like a grunt at that, like as if somebody got like maybe punched in the stomach or something.
Baron,
it's muffled, but it seems like it's coming from behind this door.
I'm sorry, which door is that?
To the south. The door to the south.
South door. Got it.
And hold that thought so I can roll a check for. Damn it. Give him. What did I say? History, right? So Gitgrot. I'll see how well. All right. So he actually. So he kind of looks around. And he's not like super familiar with this area, but he comes up with the word Charbasil. Charbasil. I'll put it in chat.
Just like
Thank
foot
you.
cream?
I know. It's like hemorrhoid cream or something. Yeah.
No. Charbasil. It's
Dwarven ale bothering your intestines.
Right.
So,
it's an old dwarven this is like he doesn't even know where he pulled it out of.
It's like those commercials for pharmaceuticals, and they're like, you could take this, it may cause blindness.
Maybe there's something in the carvings, or like he saw the runes up on the altar upstairs, or up in the what do you call it, in the monastery upstairs. So he saw the carvings up there that had been scratched out, and then now he's seen these carvings down here on the wall. So maybe somehow he's like it's rattling around in his memory banks, or something rune-ish came into his mind, or something like that name pops into his mind. So that, but beyond that, he's kind of clueless.
Well,
And
I'm
he
going to
says
continue.
he kind of whispers like, it's probably, I mean, that's probably the name of the clan or the dwarves that lived here.
Okay. I will cautiously advance into and then across the room. I've got my crossbow out.
Well, now, Kalen had said he suggested going in that room, so you're ignoring him?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to follow the sound of the screams.
Well, I said earlier that Farron said he was going to check for traps.
Where?
Well, we're in the room.
In front of it?
okay.
Okay, so give me an
before he
investigation check.
walked.
Yeah, if we're
Actually,
if there's trap checking going on.
That's kind of more of perception, because he's gonna look, right? He's gonna take a look in the room to like see if he sees any tripwires or plates or anything like that.
Yeah.
Wait till Bosslon crosses the room. Yep,
So,
no traps.
Right. So give me a perception.
I said
check.
that a lot earlier.
I know. That's why I'm pausing it before he goes across the room.
Yeah, I was like, don't let him do that. No, now if he just rolls terribly, I can't say anything.
It's all good. So perception, please.
Don't do it
We're gonna have to wrap up
again.
pretty soon.
Game. Thank you.
So with an 18, he's fairly confident that there's no like obvious, there's no plate. The stones all look uniform on the floor, and he doesn't see any wires or anything like that. There's no there's carvings on the wall, but he doesn't see any like holes or what would be indicative of like gas trap or bolts or something like that. So he's fairly certain that the room is clear and kind of like steps back behind you guys.
Okay. And he's going to go back to Kaylin and say, just trying to check because it seems like in a whisper, it seems like Basil wants to keep going forward. It sounds like there was something across the way, screams or something. Did you want us to stop and check this room before we go? Because it looks like he's like ready to go.
Yeah, I'm like screaming is this way. Let's move. Those guys can continue to hammer on whatever they're hammering on. We'll come back for them.
Yeah, I think Gikrot would definitely be in line with Bosslon. Like he's almost probably like pushing you forward.
Yeah, probably.
Like, you and the gnome take the
just
Smiths.
You're kind of like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
No, that's fine. I mean, let's go.
You do so when you kind of move into this room just a little bit. There are exits from the room. There's a corridor to the east, and Kyra can see a fair way down there. I mean, once you get into the room a bit, you can see there. It goes down quite a ways, and there are 3 doors out of this room. Yeah, so you can see you basically see that into that chasm, and then it kind of goes dark even out beyond your, I think beyond your. Yeah, definitely. You can only see to about there.
She's just gonna assume
Right
that
about
that's
there.
what Farron
You
was
can see to
describing.
about there.
Not really knowing anything and not really actually going over there. She's just gonna assume it.
Yeah.
Might not be, but
Can kind of see down here. It's hard to tell what's over there. Like a little like maybe an alcove or something, collapsed alcove.
I was gonna take the longer way around just so she could
Okay.
take looks.
Sure.
Farron is probably just gonna follow us along. Or I take it back. No, he's not. Breed usually wants to listen at doors, so he's gonna come over here and take a listen.
Sounds good.
Should we be stealthing this whole time? Or are we just like clumpa clumpa clumpa? Hey, who's there? Like, what are we doing?
Well,
I mean, with Gikrot, I mean, it's kind of hopeless, isn't it?
I'm trying to be moderately quiet without like being really slow because I mean there's like hammering going on and screaming. No one seems to make much difference. And we like slaughtered half the place. No one bothered us overnight. So
That is a very fair point. They're screaming. They probably don't even care. or hear us.
Yeah, I mean it's at the moment it's kind of quiet. So if Farron's Farron's gonna listen in the room?
Yeah, he wants to listen on the outside.
Okay, so give me a perception check.
Because if we're gonna go through this other door, we want to make sure nobody's gonna try to walk behind us, or try at least. 11.
He thinks he hears something behind, like some conversation possibly. Can't tell what's being said or anything like that, but it sounds like there might be voices.
Okay, so then he's gonna back off and just, basically tell everybody, or them, because Kyra's over here looking.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to see how far she can see before she.
Yeah. You kind of gather. I mean, within a. It looks like there's again, it's kind of crumbled in that corner.
Okay. Can she see any further out to the right?
Let me double check something. Okay, hold on.
And she'll probably catch up to them after that. Kara has this feeling, this feeling of we're walking into a
so
trap.
that basin.
She lost that love and feeling.
The basin is about a foot off the floor, but looks to be about 4 feet deep. And it looks like clear water to you when you stand next to it, Kaylin. As you stand next to that door, Boslan, you hear make a perception check.
Pretty good. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I hear.
You hear nothing. Gregory, are you muted?
It sound no, I was just checking something.
Did Greg hear?
Let me see. At the moment, you don't hear anything. You're certain that you heard screaming earlier, or like I said, you heard like the last thing you heard was kind of like an oof or something, as if someone got punched in the stomach or whatever like that. But it's been quiet. Like you don't hear anything at the moment. Whatever that means.
Okay. Well, we'll probably investigate. I got to call it for the night, guys. I got a busy day tomorrow. I need to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, this is probably a perfect spot to stop. I wish I had more of a cliffhanger for you all, but you hear. We'll leave it at this. You hear the slamming of as if someone slammed a hand on a desk. Folk. Perhaps to punctuate a statement or question. And that is where we will leave it for next time.
Starting next time, everyone grab a door, and on the count of 3, we all open it.
Leroy Jenkins, this biatch.
Leroy.
Great game, you all. I hope you enjoyed the bit of role playing and
Great.
spelunking or whatever you want to call it. No combat for a change, huh?
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
What's that?
I mean, it might be a bad idea, but it's not a bad idea.
What?
Like to just open all the doors and just get it over with.
Yeah, that's why you don't want chaotic neutral thieves in the party.
That would be
Like being insane.
that's pretty
Opens the
chaotic.
door.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Run to the next
ballsy
door.
thing to do. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us. Tune in next time for more adventures in the Kingdom of Agick. We'll be back shortly with more craziness. And in the meantime, keep rolling 20s.